Welcome back to Hack Engineering. Today we're going to be doing some work on the E92 M3, which I bought recently. In all honesty, I bought that car and it's mostly been sat here, not doing a lot. Although it's not due any service items, I am quite particular about these things, and so wanted to give it a thorough overhaul before we do anything. And me being me and as busy as we've been, we're doing all of this today before I drive it to the middle of France. So fingers crossed everything's all right under there. We're going to find out in a minute. Luke's going to give it a full vehicle health check, which is something we do with every service we do, and most jobs, unless they're sort of little bits and bobs. So it means that I'll get a nice big report of everything on the car and the condition of it all. Obviously quite a bit of it replacing anyway, but it gives you really good peace of mind and a bit of knowledge for any future jobs that need doing. So in a mo, Luke will get the car in, we'll get it on the ramp, see what's what with it, and then we'll get to work on fitting this huge pile of bits, which I'll talk through in a mo.
So we've just got the E92 M3 in. We've just started running through the health check, checking out lights and wipers. We found out the wipers are smeary, so we'll get some ordered for that. And we're now going to progress through our health check, working under the bonnet, raising the vehicle up halfway, going around the suspension and brakes, and then all the way up and inspect the underneath. And throughout that, filling out our list, ready to print off and give to the customer, which today is our MD Ben, and that will notify him of any future works that he needs to progressively work towards or tackle in one big job, however he sees fit. So we've checked everything under the bonnet, so we've checked our engine oil level, our coolant level, our brake fluid and our power steering levels, and had a quick nose around the bay. We've identified that the rocker cover gaskets are weeping, so that's something that the owner, our MD Ben, needs to plan for the future, but they are only misting at the moment, which is very common on these engines. So we're now going to get the vehicle on the ramp and start working our way underneath.
So I've been driving the car a little bit since I bought it, and the one major revelation that's come about is that the brakes are terrible. It looks like the car's been really well looked after in general. We'll find out in a minute. But I think it needs discs all round really, and the front pads look like they're Textile, which is a very budget brand, and it certainly shows. They're all right around town and everything, but as soon as you're actually going for a spirited drive, they're not great. So that is on the list for today, but we'll see exactly what Luke says it needs, and then we'll pick out the parts accordingly. Other than that, no, drives really well. Goes to the petrol station a lot. I love driving it, but yeah, those brakes are very much lacking.
The front suspension all looks to be in good condition for the age. There's not really much corrosion. It's already got a aluminium under tray fitted at the front, renewing all of the sort of felty material which fail on these. So we're just going to start working our way back. We can see here that quite commonly the rivets for the transmission heat shield fall apart. From BMW you have to buy a whole new tray with the aluminium sides. But we've specified identical rivets to the factory ones, so you can just renew the rivets in situ without even removing the tray, unless obviously you need to work on the gearbox. So we'll add that to the health check.
So Luke's just working through the car. I'm interrupting while he's typing bits on the laptop, but the lateral arm at the top here has unfortunately looks like the bush base has failed. So it's not nothing too bad, but there's a bit of play in it, which Luke will show you in a mo. So we'll get that on the list and add that to the list of today's job.
Basically, this arm and this bit should be like connected quite solidly, but they've got all that movement.
Quick confession time. You might notice the exhaust isn't a standard one. We have filmed another episode about putting this exhaust on, but when we did that, it was all done in between other jobs and in a bit of a hurry, so we didn't have time to do the full vehicle health check, so you'll have to excuse the slightly mismatched order of all of this, but yeah, Scorpion exhaust is a definite must-have in one of these.
Why?
Because it sounds bloody great. I think they call it a Scorpion half system, so it runs from the back of the secondary resonators, or resonators full stop. So it's just a bolt-on rear section basically. Yeah, the standard one is quite quiet. This had a modified standard back box which did sound good, but the Scorpion just gives it a bit more attitude really to the sound. And it's a V8, so you have to make it sound good. It's the rules. So the rear tyres are worn down to 2.6 mil in places, so legal limit is 1.6, so we've still got a fair bit of legality on that tyre, but that will mean that the wet performance perhaps isn't as good as it should be. So that's something to bear in mind for the near future. We do tyres here, and we've got all tyre machines, everything to do, you know, tyre fitting even on relatively big tyres like this and far bigger, so it won't be a problem. But I think that's one that's going to have to wait until after I come back from France, because we are up against it time-wise.
Cool, right, that's the health check complete.
Yeah.
Control arms.
Maybe leaks. Should do rock cover. Come and have a look at this. So we've got our vehicle health check here that Luke's just put together. We do, with every job, basically we'll print off and put this in there, but it also comes up as quite a nice online portal with our system. So to quickly run through it with you, you've got all the different sections here for the items that we check. So most of it green tick, that's all good. So lights and lamps are all good. Wipers, washers and horn, Luke flagged up the front wipers are smeary, which I kind of knew about. So we'll get some of those on order, that's no problem. Any other concerns, obviously we use that just to fill out anything that's not necessarily within the categories of these bits here. But yeah, going down, you've got mirrors and glass, other bits and bobs, all good. We do unfortunately have some more orange and red bits here to be slightly concerned about. So on the exhaust, there's a clamp up the front which is snapped, which it's not a mounting clamp or anything, it's a brace that sits between the exhaust, so we will sort that out at some point. Check condition of steering. So as you probably just saw, the rear upper arms are not great, so that's come up as a red cross, which is basically an item requiring urgent attention. Front and rear brakes, on both of those, you've got warm pads and lip discs, which obviously I mentioned the brakes are pretty bad, so you know that's to be expected. No leaks on there. Another item is that the transmission under tray rivets are missing, which we've flagged up also. Engine oil level is coming up that it needs a ½ litre top up, which we're changing oil today anyway, so that's not a problem. Brake fluid level, the fluid's dirty, just showing it's a bit older. That is actually, when I said earlier that it wasn't due anything, that's the one thing it is due. So we'll change brake fluid while we're here. Rock cover gaskets weeping, that's standard for an S65, they all do that. That's something we have planned for another episode, because I noticed that when I bought the car, and we've got a few other little development bits to do with that, which will be quite exciting. So looking forward to showing you that. And then last step on here is just wheels and tyres. So as we mentioned, the rear tyres are fairly worn. So what we do on here is you get inner, middle and outer measurements. so you can see how they're wearing. We also log what tyre brand and size you've got, so that essentially if you want to order a tyre, you know what you've got. Also means that we've got an internal reference for what tyres you've got, so we can order them. But yeah, that's a nice vehicle health check. As I say, also comes out as a nice printed off bit when you collect your car from us. That's that. Now time to work out what we're going to do today and get some bits together for it.
Haven't we made it, my love? Oh, honey, look how we made it this far. Hasn't the pace been a long bit, honey? Take a look at where we are.
So, obviously you've just seen the vehicle health check. I've been upstairs and raided the stores, so we've got a nice selection of bits here to go on the car. Some of it I had an inkling about, and you will have seen an episode of us going to see Dustin at Brighton BMW, who is the parts guru, to go and collect some of the bits like the brake discs and whatnot. But we've got a load of other bits as well, so we'll quickly run through them. So yeah, genuine BMW discs. There are some aftermarkets out there, but I don't really trust them. Genuine BMW actually aren't silly money, and you know you're getting a quality product. We've also got a load of genuine BMW bolts and screws and bits and bobs like that. Genuine BMW brake grease as well, which we use on all the jobs here. And then pad wise, I've gone for an EBC blue stuff pad. So I've run those on quite a few different cars, and they work really well from cold, and they've got massive stopping power. So even in sort of standard form, in good health, the brakes on these aren't necessarily the best. So that should really improve that. It is only going to be a road car, so I'm not going to go mad with the big brake kit at this time. But that should really sort it out. And then we've also got Miller's 300 plus brake fluid here. So that's just essentially a decent, very high boiling point brake fluid that we use in everything here that is a bit more of a performance car. If not, we use genuine BMW fluid. We've got all new, all the bolts and bits for all the caliper bolts, everything that you should replace when you're doing brakes on these. Onto the service bits, the more standard service bits. Obviously brake fluid's covered. Got a K&N air filter. These engines do like to gulp a lot of air, so a high flow air filter really helped that. And that's also a lifetime fit, so I won't have to replace that ever again. We can just wash it and re-go. We've done loads of bits for K&N, which you may have seen on social media and whatnot. So, love K&N filters. Can use them in everything for the rest of my life, I imagine. And then we've got a genuine BMW oil filter, and we will be putting Miller's Nano Drive 1060 in it, which we have in a barrel, so I don't have that here on the table. Got NGK spark plugs to go in it, and then also Miller's diff oil, which is here. So yeah, I've got that along with genuine BMW fill and drain plugs, which we collected from Dustin. I've got genuine BMW screen wash, very important. Got new wipers for it, which are Bosch items, and then the list keeps going. Then we've got a set of our under tray rivets for that gearbox under tray. So as Luke mentioned, we spent quite a while finding these. But they're a stainless steel rivet, much like the original one in the way that it forms and clamps that gearbox under tray, but these last a bit longer, and we sell them as individual items rather than with BMW you have to buy the whole under tray. Luke also noticed that a couple of the bolts are wrong on the airbox where it mounts to the inner wing. So we've got new bolts for that, for added nerdiness whenever anyone looks under the bonnet. Also got new airbox screws that hold the two halves of the airbox together. So we sell these just as a nice replacement item basically while we're there. And then finally the suspension bits. So these arms are Mailer items, so they're made in Germany. Mailer do various parts which are HD, heavy duty. These aren't HD, they're just Mailer original quality. In all honesty, I imagine they're going to be heavier duty than anything else you can buy anyway. Mailer stuff's actually just great. We used it on everything and it outlasts everything, takes an absolute beating. And much I love genuine BMW parts, they cost an absolute fraction of those and come with all the bolts and everything. So nice easy fit for Luke, and then that'll solve that play in the rear arm. So that's a nice easy one there. And then last bit, I figured while we've got the rear suspension apart, the standard trailing arms on these are just a pressed steel item, which is quite flimsy and has a lot of deflection. Milway do these billet ones, which aren't particularly expensive in my opinion, and they're a nice straight swap, so they should just give a little bit more rear stability. And really, once those two arms are done and the rest of the bits, this car should drive completely differently, I imagine. So we'll let Luke crack on. I think he's going to start with the service bits, then we'll move on to suspension and brakes and whatnot. Bit of a long morning ahead. But yeah, hopefully it all goes well, and then I'll be, as I said earlier, driving this to France tomorrow, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, this is going to be it. Will Ben cry?
What's the quickest way of losing your house deposit? Ta-da!
Let's have some heat. Blow to